The next generation of eMTB, light, lively, with a 900 watt-hour battery. The Spectral On from Canyon. This is no generic eMTB, not even a minor upgrade. This, my friends, is a full overhaul, a rework of a proven bike, but always an evolution, lessons learned. The new Canyon Spectral On is a fantastic development story, and this bike is simply fully loaded. So where do we begin then with this bike? Well, we do know that it's becoming increasingly difficult to choose the best all-round eMTB, what with different high and low power bikes, different motors, different amounts of suspension travel. But let's cut to the chase here, folks. Would I buy this bike? Well, certainly at 150 mil travel, light, lively, with a long-range battery, I do believe it should certainly be near the top of your list. But let's not forget about the heritage here. The old Canyon Spectral On, truly inspired. That too was light, lively, and an absolute blast to ride. A true all-rounder. But this, the brand new Spectral On, is also said to be lighter, stiffer, stronger. Oh, these words truly terrify me. Why? Because they are such overused, inconsistent words in MTB media speak. But there is a reason for my wariness of those words, and Canyon were too, because to get a bike that is both light, long range, and lively is very much new territory for an eMTB. I mean, folks, before we even get into the detail, I mean, just look at the silhouette of that bike. That does not look like a 900 watt-hour e-mountain bike, right? Now, Canyon have told us they did have a dilemma with this bike. They wanted to maintain the personality of the old bike and yet give riders the power and range to ride further. So what did that mean? Well, more battery, more weight, and potentially a different character. So what did they do? They made the bikes full carbon. They said they gained strength but saved weight in the process. New seat stay bridge, new 15mm Burley ball bearings, increased rear end stiffness. Whoa, I didn't say that, Canyon said that. But folks, look at it. Boom, what a bike. And remember, this is very much a story of progression, evolution here from the first bike of 4 years ago. So what about the shape and purpose of this bike then? Well, it's a true all-rounder like its predecessor, 155mm rear, 150mm up front. There's 4 sizes, there's 4 different models, and 29, 27.5 wheel mix. So has it got more range? Yes, it has. It can be shipped with either a 720 or a 900 watt-hour battery. But has it got heavier? No, it hasn't. Now, a similarly spec'd current bike with a 630 watt-hour battery weighs in around about 22.5 kilos. This bike with a 900 watt-hour battery weighs in at 22.75 kilos. Ah, yes, you guessed, that's a fraction heavier, but just think about the range. But key part is that 720 watt-hour bike actually weighs in less at around about 21 kilos. And that is a great number for a mid-travel eMTB. So has it changed shape? Yes, it has. It is now lower, slacker, and longer. Ah yes, you've heard those words before, haven't you? And let's face it, they are close associates of words such as lighter, stiffer, and stronger. And Canyon themselves were very wary of this, because there comes a point when those characteristics can work against you. But what you have to understand is this bike has a different heritage. The predecessor to this bike was a different shape to many other bikes. Right, to answer the question, yes, they have done, but how have they done that exactly? Well, let me just spin it round so you guys get to see the other side of the bike, which is equally as beautiful. Right, so what have they done? Okay, so they've slackened the head angle by a degree. They've steepened the seat tube angle by 2 degrees. They've lengthened the chainstay by 5mm, and they've lowered the bottom bracket. Yes, they've dropped the bottom bracket on an already awesome cornering bike even more. They've also made it longer in reach by 20mm, making it more centered for descending. A large is now the equivalent of an old extra large. Scary stuff, right? Elsewhere, they've dropped the seat tube length by about 20mm to let you move it. It now has more descending poise for sure. I like to move it. Yes, it's kind of roughly the same, but they've made it better for climbing and descending. But crucially, they've not lengthened, lowered or slackened the chute out of it to make it dull on single tracks like some brands have done. At which point we come to arguably the key question about this bike. Is it still playful? Can you indeed make a bike which is light and lively and have a long range too? Have Canyon turned the Spectral on into a dumper truck by overloading it with extra juice? Well, some people think not. Some people do. Some people think that 630 watt-hours is the optimum amount of juice for an e-mountain bike. However, if you can make a suspension design which is lively, then why should it be burdened by extra capacity watt-hours? Okay, Spectral on, with the lights on. It's actually safe with the lights on. Next point is price. Are these bikes more important? Actually, you got me there. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure the prices will come up. But let's face it, this bike is more expensive, but this bike here is more detailed. We've got flight attendant. Do you know what? This is actually the first e-mounted bike I've ever ridden, or should I say about to ride with flight attendant, and I'm super excited. But what it means is that potentially when you go from flat ground to steep ground, that suspension will automatically lock out. I'm really looking forward to riding this bike for definite. So Canyon say the Spectral on is all about range done right. So what we don't want from our bikes is ones which are top heavy and won't corner or lean easily. It's happened with so many bikes. So they've arranged the battery cells horizontally, a more compact, efficient battery if you like. They've also, as you can see, tilted that Shimano EP8 motor upwards, enabling them to tuck that battery lower down. This has resulted in a lower centre of gravity and an evenly balanced weight distribution. Or in Canyon's words, they've created a ground-hugging, corner-shrouding ripper of a bike. Boom, boom. And what do we have here? Well, this is the old Rosenberger self-locating magnetic charger. Looks familiar, right? But look, don't get too excited, it's just a plug. But what we do know is it's waterproof, proven, and very simple. And 2 Allen bolts actually let you dismount this battery. Hey, but look, the details count just as much, right? Bear in mind there's only 3 cables in this down tube here, which makes it a far, far cleaner wiring harness than on many other e-mountain bikes. The on-off switch actually goes direct onto that battery, which means you haven't got to have excessive batteries going from the top tube into the down tube. Canyon's bar and stem may be controversial. I personally love it. I think it's a great setup for climbing and descending. And as you can see, you've got internal cable routing down the handlebar and into the head tube. Carbon fiber, a fiber skid plate on there. Got great protection in the chainstay area. Playroom for the water ball. Oh, and the Quixel. That's a great name, isn't it? The Quixel, which means you can take the back wheel out really easily with that pop-out lever. Yeah, fantastic detail on this bike for sure. So, have Canyon cleared up with the new Spectral on? Well, I have to return to an earlier question. Would I actually buy this bike? Let me hint that maybe I've got 2 weeks of holiday which I'm actually relishing to beating the living daylights out of this bike. And we look at the details, 29, 27.5. Did it look like I had good fun on the previous bike? Was that lively? Well, let us know in the comments down below. It's got that long range battery, which for me is great because I love exploring the mountains, and I'm slightly heavier. I am super excited to try out the new flight tendon. I've not done that before. The sizing on the bike is bang on for me, 485. I'm on a size large, I'm 6 foot. So boom, guys, let us know, would you buy the all new Spectral? And remember, it's not just this top end bike which is available. There's 4 other models in the range, and I think these, at the end of the day, are a super exciting times for us e-mountain bike riders.